Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Bear Daily Brief. It is bearindependent.com. Y'all know that. Sorry, the sun's bright. Today is 29th of March, and this brief is for the 28th and the 29th. I want to start by thanking y'all for being here. I don't think y'all truly understand how much I appreciate you. Thank you. Thank you for being here. And thank you for supporting what we do on Patreon. Bear Independent, the entity that is Bear Independent, is during the time of this crisis, at least for right now, supporting in some capacity at this time 9 households. 9 households. And so it means the world to me that y'all support us in what we do, because that allows me to support people who are vital to what we do, but also going through kind of a rough time economically right now. So your dollar or more a month does matter. And just thank you. Thank you very much. If you want to join Patreon, just go to Patreon, look for Bear Independent. The entirety of this report is on there, on Patreon, in written form. There's also a promo code for patrons at the Bear Store. You can check that out while you're there. The most recent write-up I did, the Intel report for today, the introduction to that Intel report has the promo code that you can use there. So if you are a patron, please make sure to take, to use that code if you need it. Now, let's move along. Quarantine guidelines have been extended through the end of April right now. Quarantine guidelines have been extended through the end of April as of right now, as of moments ago. And as a brief aside, the next person that tells me, Bear, when I move to the country, I'm going to get guinea hens because they're great watchdogs, is going to get punched in the mouth, because they're not great watchdogs. They alert to everything, and they make a noise that's somewhere between bad brakes on a car and nails on a chalkboard over and over and over again. And they alert to everything, and they're disgusting to look at and obnoxious to listen to, and I hate their guts, and I consider them to be an abomination. And I am praying to the Most High that he will send something to kill our last guinea, because it needs to be dead. But I digress. Repeat, quarantine directive has been extended through the end of April. The president says that he's hoping that the country will be back to work by June. Repeat, back to work by June. Today is 29 March, April, May, June. Now, a lot of the reports that we're getting from y'all, and especially the travel permits that we're seeing from y'all, show dates that at a minimum extend through the end of May. Some extend into 2021 as far as the dates on these permits. So we got at least another month of what we have right now. And so it's vitally important that you share this brief with people that you love. Just get it out there on the internet and let the internet do what it does with it. For good or bad or whatever. As an observation, I think the president's doing a really good job with his daily briefs. I think he's doing a good job putting people in their place when they need to be put in place. He's doing a good job of delivering information. He has his experts up there with him. I think Fauci's looking a little rough around the edges. I hope he doesn't have it. What's the other one? Baker? She seems to be doing all right. Didn't see Pence in this most recent one, but he looked like he needed a nap the last time I saw him. He probably does need a nap. But I think the president is doing a very good job of kind of assuring the populace, but delivering information. So he said that Humana and Cigna are going to waive all of their copays related to COVID-19. We'll see, because we've gotten paperwork sent to us by patients from Humana that basically said something to the exact opposite, that they were being, they weren't playing ball. So we'll see. And the president expects cash payments to be in the hands of the people within 3 weeks from that massive stimulus bill, which we will get to momentarily. So if you didn't catch the president's live stream, that's what he said. Now, overview. The number of confirmed cases worldwide and in the U.S. continues to climb. Worldwide numbers have been climbing by several thousand every few hours since Friday, and that rate has been increasing even more today. Note, these numbers may be a bit behind reality since testing follows a process that takes time. It first has to be administered, then processed by labs, then reported to health departments, who then reported officially. As of the time of this reporting, global cases, 716,101. Global deaths, 33,854. U.S. cases, 139,986. And U.S. deaths, 2,454. Those numbers are going to continue to climb. The president also said in his press brief today that he expects the peak numbers to be within about 2 weeks from now. And they're basing that upon their slow the spread containment model that they've developed. They expect the numbers to peak within a couple of weeks. It's quite possible that we see global cases into the millions, likely in fact, and total global deaths into the hundreds of thousands. We're already in the tens of thousands. The $2.2 trillion stimulus bill passed on Friday. It will be sending payments to individuals, expanding jobless aid, suspending federal student loan payments and interest during a 6-month period, providing $377 billion in loans to small businesses, establishing $500 billion in government lending program for distressed companies, and sending $100 billion to hospitals. The Federal Reserve Board reduced reserve requirement ratios to 0% effective March 26, 2020. I believe that it used to be that you had to have 10% in reserve. Now it's 0. This means that this action eliminated reserve requirements for all depository institutions, meaning they don't actually have to have the money that they say they have on hand. This is very, I won't say likely, it is possible, very possible, that this creates a bank run. It's very possible that this bank run then further reinforces the idea of a digitized currency, digital currency, rather than fiat currency. Is that fiat currency the beginning of the end? Are we living Matthew 24, bro? Is this Mark 15? When does the beast appear? I don't know. I don't even know if we're living Matthew 24. In fact, when I pray over this, what the Father tells me is, keep doing what you're doing, kid. I'll let you know when it's game time. Not yet. Now, I could be completely wrong in that, but that's what he's telling me. Hello, my lovely talented. Are you going to kill these roosters and guineas for me? No. Where are you going? Come sit with me? Ish? All right. We are on a stack of pine logs or pine slabs that have been milled with a chainsaw mill right now. So, I don't know, digitized currency. Is this the beginning of the end of this? Is this the mark of the beast? I'll just tell you this, my conviction is the mark of the beast is something that is freely given, not that you're tricked into. You have to take it. But I digress. 2 or more eyewitness accounts. Gosh, I have any of y'all that know anything about being a fuzzy man know that sometimes you get a hair that grows weird in your nose, and I have a weird hair in my nose right now that is wearing me out. It's driving me crazy. It's not a COVID hair. It's just a hair. Shut your beak. Two or more eyewitness accounts. Continuity of infrastructure and supply chains. Repeating. We are still being inundated with reports of people receiving their essential business personnel travel permission letters, placards, etc. to continue critical infrastructure operations and supply. Some reference curfew, others are addressed to law enforcement, but the details widely vary across the board. Now, as I've said before, you don't permit something unless you intend to restrict something, and we're seeing a lot of permitting going on. I feel like the more permitting we see, the more likely we are to see restrictions on travel. We're already starting to see this on a county by county, state by state basis. Legal and political. Updated list. Places seriously considering or already instituting essential services only travel restrictions. For example, what we literally just talked about. Permitted travel. Stay-at-home orders, shelter-in-place orders, or similar official proclamations. States: California, New York, Illinois, Ohio, Connecticut, Oregon, Louisiana, New Jersey, Indiana, Delaware, Michigan, Virginia, Wisconsin, Washington. Hashtag bear thumbs. Got it. New Hampshire, West Virginia, Colorado, Idaho, Hawaii, Montana, New Hampshire, North Carolina, Alaska, boy, that's a new one, Utah, Minnesota, Vermont, and Kansas. In Georgia and Florida, for at-risk groups only. Hey, he's got a kill order on him, right? That's Scissor Beak. Yeah, well, I'll eat him. I'm just about tired of him. You just need a good backstop, homie, and you're done fo. The number of cities and counties issuing stay-at-home orders in spite of non-action from the state is growing. States with select counties or cities under restriction and adding more are Georgia, Pennsylvania, Texas, Florida, Alabama, South Carolina, Missouri, Tennessee, and Oklahoma in the Oklahoma City and Tulsa areas. Select areas around the country have issued curfews to curb social exposure. Arizona is expected to get an order soon, but Governor Ducey has received some heat because he signed an executive order last Monday that prohibits local governments from making their own decisions about how to keep communities safe amid the coronavirus outbreak. In Wake County, North Carolina, due to the overwhelming surge of applicants, County Sheriff Gerald Baker announced last Tuesday the temporary suspension of pistol purchase permits through 30 April, as the office is unable to keep up with the 14-day turnaround, and there are concerns about viral spread due to about 290 people coming into the office for permits each day. Good job, North Carolina. Wake County, North Carolina. Awesome. Sheriff Baker said, quote, "This decision does not limit anyone's right to purchase a handgun. Over the past several weeks, our staff has been inundated with high volumes of permit applications that has made it possible to process by law. This decision is not a violation of anyone's Second Amendment rights," end quote. Constitutional carry for the win. New from Rhode Island, the governor said in coastal communities, the state National Guard would go door to door to advise visitors from New York about a mandatory 14-day quarantine for people from the state. One viewer has observed the travel checks only seem to be performed during business hours. How cute. That's cute. Florida, there we go. That's the word I needed. Florida Governor Ron DeSantis. Should I go into like my news guy voice? Florida Governor Ron DeSantis has ordered anyone arriving from Louisiana to self-quarantine and said law enforcement officers would set up checkpoints to screen cars from Louisiana. Ron DeSantis also has ordered a 14-day isolation period to limit community spread for travelers coming from Louisiana, New York, New Jersey, and Connecticut. But let's not forget that Governor Ron DeSantis, as of just a few days ago, still had all of the beaches open because hashtag we need that spring break money, yo. It's like closing the barn door after the horse gets out, but whatever, moron. Massachusetts governor has asked visitors from New York to self-quarantine for 14 days upon arrival. Alabama governor ordered the closing of all non-essential businesses but did not issue a stay-at-home order. So you can leave, there's just nowhere to go. Copy. President Trump, under the military heading, President Trump issued an executive order to the selected reserve and certain members of the individual ready reserve of the armed forces to active duty. This document has been submitted for viewing on Patreon. Shut your beak. Many states have activated their National Guards, including Missouri, Florida, Iowa, Louisiana, New York, Rhode Island, South Carolina, Maryland, California, Wisconsin, Texas, and Washington. Many continue to note unusual military activity as it is to be expected at this time. The best words, tremendous. Believe me, everybody tells me you're a disgrace. You're fake news. Now sit down. Drills, training deployments, etc. have been canceled. Tremendous. Medical. The Henry Ford Health System in Detroit has issued triage protocol. There have been some reports that Detroit is expected to be one of the worst impacted places in the U.S. due to myriad pre-existing hardships. The last time I was in Detroit was 12 years ago, and it seemed like maybe we just get a bunch of D8 dozers and try again. Just start over. Just knock it all down and start over. Yeah, it's rough. If you have to buy a pizza and pass your money through the slot in the 2-inch thick bulletproof glass, and then they open a little door and slide the pizza into a bulletproof box, and then close this door and hit a buzzer, and this door opens so you can take your pizza out of the 2-inch thick bulletproof glass. You might be into hood. All right. Repeating, intel from multiple locations have noted that the reported number of positive tests are actually far lower than reality for several reasons. Reported number of positive tests are far lower than what is, I don't think that wording is correct. Intel from multiple locations have noted that the reported number of positive tests are far lower. So the numbers that are being reported are far lower than the reality, I think, is what the Intel staff is trying to get into my brain so it will come out of my mouth hole and into your ear hole. The numbers that we're hearing are far lower than the reality. The reason for this is only a minority of people are actually tested at all. And then there is a delay around 10 days in Texas, for example, to get the results. And then this is sent to the state health department, and then it will be announced after they process it, which takes even more days. So there's a lot of lag time there, meaning that the numbers that we have now are really the numbers that we had a couple of weeks ago. And as testing becomes more streamlined, these numbers are just going to explode, because the numbers that are being reported today are the actual numbers from a couple of weeks ago. Thank you, Intel staff. Good job, dance monkeys. Many have reported, under societal in general, many have reported seeing an influx of license plates and campers from the hardest hit states such as New York, along the eastern states and into the interior of the country. Yeah, that's called bugging out, yo. Riggins, Idaho, a mostly volunteer staff of EMTs were exposed to someone who tested positive for COVID-19. They are now self-quarantined. Howard County, Indiana Board of Commissioners has banned the sale of non-essential items at essential businesses. So you can go to an essential business, you just can't buy a non-essential item at the essential business. For example, you cannot buy furniture at Walmart. So if you now need a desk to work from home, you're out of luck, homie. But you could probably go to Home Depot and get you a circular saw and some boards and a speed square and a pencil. And then you could get a trauma kit from bearindependent.com, because you're gonna cut like at least this many fingers off when you try and make your own desk at home. And you're gonna need a way to bandage this wound so that you don't bleed out and die, because you certainly can't go to the hospital because you're gonna get COVID-19 at the hospital. So things to think about. I don't know if this threat has passed or not, but in Illinois, I know that there was a lot of expectation of extreme weather last night. I talked to some buddies of mine in Illinois recently, meaning today, and at least one of them said that this thing that was supposed to be massive just kind of petered out by them. So, but check your radar, people, because we are now at the time of the year where, you know, hurricane season was not quite yet, but man, tornado season, wildfire season, it's all coming. And the first responder response to this is going to be nothing. In fact, in Oklahoma, at least in eastern Oklahoma, it's been announced they're not opening the storm shelters if there's a tornado, because they can't risk infecting all of the people, the hundreds of people who would go into the storm shelter if one person in there had COVID-19. Where do you go? In a lot of areas around here, the storm shelters are at the school. Can't go to the school. Schools aren't even staffed. There's nobody there to open the storm shelter. And so things are going to get complicated. Single accounts, insider intel, miscellaneous. We'll do a little bit of this stuff. The entirety of the report is on Patreon. So if you want to, you can go check out the remainder of the report on Patreon. Rural Utah Law Enforcement Department is checking their staff for fevers. If they got over 100, they're sent home, and they're making their deputies wear PPE when dealing with inmates. Then they have to sanitize their masks in the microwave afterwards. Power plant worker. Many small plants have been idled. Most U.S. power is coming from mega gas plants and nuke stations. Because these create large amounts of megawatts and demand is low, small plants are not running. This is creating large fluctuations in the voltage of lines, resulting in a great increase at night and dragging volts during the day. This is hard on motors, which has led to brownouts in the past. It can also cause permanent damage to equipment. Awesome. From a website of a company related to security and fire system monitoring in Louisville, Kentucky on March 19th, not responding to burglar alarms for residential or commercial accounts. Tulsa, Oklahoma will not respond to non-verified residential alarm. However, they will still accept a call for dispatch. They may respond to a commercial alarm if requested. That's nice to know. Seattle, Washington, Killeen, Texas, Tucson, Arizona will not respond to non-verified residential alarm. However, will still accept call for dispatch. Aberdeen, Washington. Physician says local hospital had 8 confirmed new patients Thursday. All ventilators are now being used and many presumptive patients are waiting in the lobby. According to the data he follows, it is very likely that the U.S. could see as many as 1 million total deaths from COVID-19. Small town Alabama is limiting breads, canned goods, paper products, bread, milk, eggs to 1 per household. Only odd caliber ammunition on the shelves. Pain reliever aisle had only ibuprofen left on shelves. All antibacterial soap and rubbing alcohol was gone. Upstate New York. Basketball hoops are being removed from all schools and parks. People have tried to steal food from stores, and stores are putting up plexiglass shields. Behave yourselves, New Yorkers. Jeez. The greatest city in the world. Act like it. Morons. I realize this is upstate New York, but I was born and raised in upstate New York. Although by the hand of the Most High, my father has family in Kansas, Oklahoma, and Texas. And yeah, we've had a foot in this part of the world for the last couple hundred years. Upstate New York is it's a mess. The only thing I miss is Oktoberfest at Bear Mountain 15 years ago, before all the hipsters from Brooklyn started coming up to enjoy a nice Hefeweizen. Gosh. Ah! People are pulling over to check for travel papers. People are being pulled over to check for travel papers. Travel papers in Northwest Denver metro area. But the media is not reporting it. People are being pulled over in Northwest Denver metro area to be checked for travel papers. Indiana, local military bases on full lockdown, no leave now being allowed. Local FCA transmission and die-cast factories that employed up to 13,000 local workers have now extended shutdown from 31 March to April 14th at the earliest. It will very likely go to 31 April since the quarantine has been extended through the end of April. International unrest and thefts are rising in southern Italy, which has been under quarantine for more than 2 weeks. They have reported over 10,000 deaths. Actionable, make PPE for medical workers. There seems to be a lot of discussion as to whether or not these things even help. I talked to Cody at Sojourn Gear, and then I talked to some medical professionals I know, and we can make masks and we can sell masks. If you want masks, you can shoot me an email and tell me that you want masks, and we can make you some masks. But a fabric mask will not filter the virus. It just won't. What it will stop is bodily fluids, the sharing of air-ish, but the virus particle is so small that it will get through a fabric mask. So we've kind of tabled that idea right now because I'm not sure that that would actually help anything. However, if y'all want them, I'll consider it. So you can send me an email and we'll see about it. If you feel ill, please consider not taking ibuprofen or Advil due to the potential risk of worsening the virus and other patient outcomes. Let's see. Continue to be aware of Netflix scams, account issues, stimulus benefits, fake coronavirus testing, etc. Police officer, if you think you live in a gun-friendly state or town, you need to contact your local reps and governments to make sure your voice is heard. Gun stores that are forced to close now and thereby lose sales may not be able to reopen in the future due to losses. This would greatly reduce the availability of guns and ammo in the future. Great point. Also, do not forget to support medical care workers. They are bearing the brunt of this and could really use your encouragement. Silver linings. Tremendous. Silver linings, they're the best. Why are there 1,000 of you and only 214 have clicked the thumbs up button? The rest of you are fake news. I don't believe you. Sit down. Or you could just hit the thumbs up button. That helps us in the algorithm. If you have these and read your Bible on camera and talk about the China virus, YouTube doesn't like you much at all. So it really does help us in the algorithm. When you do the thumbs up thing, the like, comment, subscribe, share thing, that helps us tremendously so that other people can see this. And also feel free to share this with people that you love, who you think need to see this, because that helps us as well, and it helps the channel grow. And as stated at the onset, there are 9 families who are directly or indirectly being blessed by the revenue that Bear Independent creates. Like right now, there are 9 households eating off of this. So thank you. Like it's meaningful. This isn't just me sitting in the woods in the middle of nowhere. It's much more than that. So thank you. Now, silver linings. Gun stores must be permitted to remain open per the Attorney General of Texas. Awesome. One viewer's mother was told that she can now have spine surgery to fix debilitating pain from a compressed spine. They originally told her she'd have to wait 6 weeks, but they were able to get her in next Thursday. Praise the Father. During a walk, one person noted that everyone was voluntarily social distancing while chatting with friends and neighbors, stepping aside for others to pass at safe distance, etc. Traffic was slower, shops were closed, families were planting gardens and repairing homes. Respect and camaraderie are in the air. Our local feed store is out of garden tools. Repeat. The 30-foot wall filled with rakes, shovels, hoes, pickaxes, it's bare. I think that's great. And I don't think it's panic buying either. I think people are starting to understand, we could be in this for a while, and we need to start taking personal responsibility. We need to become independent of the crumbling system. I hate that it has to come to this in order for people to get that point, but hey, praise the Father, they're getting the point. So that's awesome. One viewer says, because of you and your wife, I have left the city and moved to the mountains. We pretty much owe our lives to you. Thank you. You owe your life to your creator, but I'm glad he was able to use me as a subcontractor for a while. So all praise to the Most High, but bless y'all. A person was not charged for several items at the grocery. When contacted, the manager said that was because of new protocols. They couldn't restock it, then said, keep it. Hopefully it helps. The extra food will be given to the elderly neighbors and local food bank. That's awesome. A medical worker is seeing a low volume of ER patients and says their numbers are beginning to reflect the quarantine measures. Note, please pray for a young neighbor child who has brain cancer, whose surgery was put off by this crisis. We are letting them come feed the chickens for entertainment. We will most certainly add that to our prayers. Make a note. One person says homemade masks are being dropped off by local residents to rehabilitation and long-term care facilities by the dozens. Our local Ace Hardware has donated its entire inventory of N95 masks for nursing staff. Also, they had one chicken lay 3 eggs yesterday. That's awesome. I don't know if that's actually physically possible, but that's awesome. You might have more than one chicken laying, or you might have just found 3 days worth of eggs under one chicken. We do this all the time, but I'm glad for you. I'm glad for you. Some viewers are reporting that the weather is beautiful. The sun is shining and morale-boosting socializing is still taking place with precautionary distancing. And a little programming note, Grindstone Ministries is currently looking for an attorney with specialization in trademarking, as well as a grant writer. If you know anybody who could fit the bill, our ministry would certainly like to speak with you. Nobody at our ministry gets paid, and so it's a volunteer position, but we're the hands and feet of Messiah when people are hurting. And so if you want to help us do that, we'd love to have your help. So you can email me ntxmag@gmail.com, ntxmag@gmail.com. November Tango X-Ray Mike Alpha Golf, and just put Grindstone in the subject line. Also, while we're talking about emailing, I have a dear friend and brother who has a batch of the cutest, sweetest, most awesome Anatolian Pyrenees puppies. I think they're Pyrenees puppies, right, babe? Pyrenees puppies. Papered parents. We got to hang out with them yesterday. They're gorgeous dogs. There's 8 of them. They're $500 a piece in Northwest Arkansas. Boy, are they worth it. They're phenomenal dogs. I know both of the parent dogs. They're damn good dogs, but they're working dogs. They're homestead dogs. They're livestock guardian dogs. And so if you need a livestock guardian dog, not a pet, not something to brag on, a working dog to guard your livestock, these dogs are awesome, and they're in Northwest Arkansas. Like I said, I personally know these people. We love them to death, and I trust them explicitly and implicitly. Tremendous, believe me. So if you're interested in one of these pups, shoot me an email, November Tango X-Ray Mike Alpha Golf, and I'll do the introductions for you. Come see us on Patreon. Again, please come see us on Patreon. The entirety of this report is on Patreon in written format. You can copy, paste, share it with other people, you know, whatever. It's one of the few things on Patreon I'm comfortable with other people sharing. You can copy and paste this out. You can share this video with, you know, your text of, you know, group text, friends, family, Facebook, whatever. That's awesome. But Patreon right now, like I said, is helping us support no less than 9 households during this time. And it's a real blessing to be in a position to be able to do that. So thank you to all of our patrons for making this possible. I say it and I mean it. We could not do this without you. We would not do this without you. And I'm just super thankful that my life looks the way that it does. And it looks the way that it does in large part because of y'all. So thank you. What did we do today? Myself and Yankee Survival did a ruck march this morning, 45 pounds and rifle, 2.4 miles in 30 minutes. We smoked, we were smoked. I'm still smoked, but that was good. I shot a Patreon video about that. We bought local honey for his allergies. We got some fencing stuff. I had an aggressive feral dog on property that would not allow grandma to come out of her house. And so said aggressive feral dog found out what happens when you apply Hornady VMAX 50 grain at 3,200 something feet per second to the forehead, and said feral dog is now part of the robust compost pile, because that's just a fact of life when you live in the country. So we did that. Our kids went fishing at the next door neighbor's house in the creek, which is awesome. They were having a blast over there doing that, playing in the woods. We ate leftovers. My wife packed a bunch of orders from the web store to be dropped off at the outside the post office to limit our exposure to COVID-19. We burnt brush, we cleaned the house, and we will be cooking some burgers on the grill for dinner. And then we will be playing Catan, where I will be dominating everybody because I know the business things. Do you hear me, woman? I will own you at Catan. You should see the look she just gave me. It's like, I know where you sleep. That's what we did today. Let's talk to our Creator. Shut up, Rooster. Father God, thank you. Thank you for this. Thank you that even amidst all this chaos, you are still sovereign over all things. Thank you for humbling us and for bringing us back to you, for making it clear to us that it is not all about us, it is all about you. Father, thank you that even as things are difficult, they're really not that bad, Father. Father, I pray that you would make your will be done with everybody who's infected with this, that you would heal those that you see fit to heal, and that you would call home those you need back with you. Father, this young child who's got brain cancer, with this surgery that's been put off, I pray that you just manifest your will with that. I don't know why you do what you do. I certainly don't understand how you do what you do, but I trust in you to do it. So, Father, we just ask you to be sovereign in that, to allow your will to be manifested in that. Father, to build testimony during this time, to allow us to continue to see the silver linings, to see your hand everywhere. Father, I pray that you just continue to fill us up. Father, if there's anything within the sound of my voice that's not of you, we rebuke it in the name of Yeshua HaMashiach and command it to flee. I ask that you'd be indwelt in us, that we would be the city on the hill, that we would be the light that does not go underneath a basket. Father, that other people would see us during this time and go, I don't know what they have, but I want some. And that you would create opportunities for testimony and for witness, and that people would come to know you better, or come to know you the first time because of this. Father, thank you. Thank you for this mess. Thank you for the opportunities that it creates, and thank you for allowing busted up POSs like us to serve your mighty kingdom. We ask these things in the name of Yeshua HaMashiach, of Jesus the Christ. Amen. Somebody be cutting onions out here, man. I got burgers to grill, and a rooster to kill. Stay safe out there, people. It's a hard life, but it's a good one. It is a damn good one. And we ain't seen nothing yet. Shalom.